Welcome to the drawing board. I am your host and in-house artist, Erin. If you're joining us for the first time, I want to wish you a warm welcome. And if you're joining us again, welcome back. If you're not familiar with the drawing board, here's a little synopsis of what happens on this show. The drawing board is an educational show mainly geared towards kids, but can be enjoyed by all ages alike, where I talk to people from the comics and entertainment industry, and we learn a little bit more about what they do. And during this, I'm also drawing them. It's a pretty fun result from that. Well, if you're joining us for the second, third, fourth time, you might notice that the setup is a little bit different today. And if this is your first time joining us, well, you're in for a real treat because this is the very first live episode of the drawing board. And my show tonight is very exciting because I have a bunch of guests that I'm really excited for y'all to meet. Now, back in the 90s, a film came out by Disney called Aladdin, and that became a hit with all the Disney fans out there. The story of the diamond in the rough, which then eventually got transferred onto Broadway. Well, my guests tonight have all had a hand of telling this story, whether it be in the animated classic or on Broadway. So I'd like to introduce y'all to my guests tonight. First off, our diamond in the rough from across the pond in the West End, Matthew Croke. Hi, Matthew.
Hey.
Our Grand Vizier of Agrabah from both the animated original and the Broadway version, Jonathan Freeman. Hello. You ain't never had a friend like him, and trust me, he's a lot of fun. Our genie from Broadway, James Monroe Iglehart. Hi, James.
Hello.
Our other diamond in the rough, also from our Broadway version of Aladdin. Please welcome Arielle Jacobs.
Hello.
And we have two more guests joining us, but they'll be joining us a little bit later. Our Jasmine from Broadway and also the traveling version, Arielle Jacobs, as well as Iago from Broadway, Don Darryl Rivera. Oh, there's Arielle. Hi there.
Hello. Hi.
Well, welcome all to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This show is super exciting because this is a show that will actually be benefiting a charity. We're benefiting the 52nd Street Project today, and they are an incredible charity that works with kids, pairing them with theater professionals in order to help them gain life skills and learn more about how it is to work in the theater industry. So if you're wanting to help support this and everything, the link to donate is below in the bio. Please go ahead and just give them a little support because they are an absolutely incredible foundation. So now that we've said all that and everyone's introduced, I'm going to get into it with y'all. So my first question for you is because since each of you have had a different hand in telling the story, whether it's in the original animated classic, whether it's performing live on stage 8 times a week, what is your favorite thing about getting to be a part of telling the story of Aladdin?
Who's going first? Go.
You can go whoever wants to go.
You know what? I have loved this. I loved Aladdin when I was a little kid. I remember that was my high school graduation present from my mom, was to go see the film. And I remember during Friend Like Me, I leaned over to my mom after the song, and I was like, I wish I could do something like that. So to be a part of this history, to be a part of this historic, title. And then not only to do that, but to recreate the roles. You have amazing people like Brad Kane and like Robin Williams to recreate these roles on stage, and then to recreate it with, yes, he's gonna get mad at me, but the legendary Jonathan Freeman, who did the voice in the cartoon, and to be able to do that with him on stage, it was incredible. I mean, it's so cool. It's like, I think one of the coolest things a kid told me, walked up to me and said, "You're the real genie because you have feet." And I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, I'm the real genie because I have feet. Because the genie, he's always puffing around in the cartoon. I walked, so he was like, "You're real." I'm like, all right, cool. It was dope. It was great.
Yeah, you're real, all right. You had to sneak in that when I was in high school thing, didn't you?
We're having a debate whether Jonathan Freeman is aged.
Jonathan Freeman. Okay, I want y'all, anybody who's watching, I want y'all to go back and I want y'all to watch the DVD extras. The only thing different about Jonathan is the color of his hair. The glasses are the same, his face is the same. Nothing's changed. He hasn't aged. The only person on this block of cast that has aged is me. I look like Santa Claus now. When we started Aladdin, all my hair was black. So that's all I got to say.
Not true.
All right, so anybody else can take the question. Whoever wants to go for it.
I got the question.
How dare you?
The question is what your favorite thing about being a part of telling the story is.
Well, you know, I mean, I will just say that I always wanted to be the voice of a Disney villain, always, from the time I was a kid. I didn't even really like any of the other characters. I mean, I enjoyed them as a supporting character to the villain. You know, I mean, as far as
That's
I was,
how you got to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. So, but they appealed to me not because they were mean necessarily, but they appealed to me just because they were always so exotic. They always, you know, they were always bigger than life in some way. They always had some kind of extraordinary off-screen lives, it seemed to me. They always had the best parties and the best food, and they always looked the coolest. They had the best clothes, and they had animals who talked. I mean, who didn't want to have that? That was my dream when I was a kid.
Totally. I'll go. I think one of my favorite things, you know, besides playing on the Tonys and being a category on Jeopardy, and a judge in The Bachelorette, you know, all those amazing fun things. The best thing about it was I got to help create and originate the role, which is, you know, every actor's dream, to take a role from something that everybody knows and loves so well, and sort of adapt it and mold it to my strengths and what I'm able to do. And that creative process is unlike anything. It's gold. It's really such a great opportunity to be able to do that, and, you know, to try things and fail spectacularly, and then try something else. And you know, that's fun. I mean, we basically get to just play in the sandbox and play and experiment and try things, and that's the best part. I'm always a little bit sad when the show is kind of frozen, you know, and then it's like, oh, playtime's sort of over. But yeah, yeah, right.
Not for you. The genie gets to do stuff, fun stuff.
That's right. Yeah, he's still playing around with it. But yeah, I think it's just fortunate to be able to have that, you know, unique opportunity. You don't get that every day, for sure.
Yeah, for me, I remember being a kid and watching the film for the very first time, and my love for musical theatre, the older I was getting more and more. And watching Aladdin, I used to genuinely think that would be the biggest dream of making my favorite Disney film as a kid into a musical, because then I could maybe be Aladdin one day. And I always used to dream that they would make a musical of it. So when they did, regardless of like me ever being Aladdin, I was just a massive fan and a huge lover of Aladdin anyway. So when those two big passions came together, I was just so excited to see it. So to see Adam create my childhood dream into a musical was just the biggest, most exciting thing that I'd ever kind of experienced with regards to being an actor myself. Like that is what I was aiming for. So when that happened, I was like, you know what, I just want to see it. I want to watch it. I want to be there and see Adam and Courtney and Jonathan and James like do their thing and make my favorite film into a musical which I would love to watch. So, and when I got the role, I was like, this is too much for me to handle. I was like, this is just incredible, and I felt incredibly lucky to step into, you know, the show in London and try my best to make it as good as the original cast on Broadway, and try and make it a hit in London, and just let that journey keep going. So for me, like, from being a child to now, to think that I'm part of a tiny part of the Aladdin world is just incredible. I feel so lucky, and even to be here today and chat to you all and still talk about this experience is just so exciting for me. I mean, I'm here in London right now, and it's like nearly midnight, but it's like so excited to get on and meet you all and chat about it. So yeah, I just feel incredibly lucky to be part of such a massive thing, worldwide, globally, massive.
Mm-hmm. I think that my favorite part about doing the show every day was really seeing how much the show created real life magic for everybody. I really enjoyed seeing the kids and the like all of the adults, everyone in the audience, how they would just gasp whenever something magical happened on stage, whether it was the carpet taking off or whether it was all of the, you know, dancers coming on during Friend Like Me and the flashes of fireworks happening across the stage. All of this unbelievable magic that came to life in front of their eyes. That to me was the best part, because it made them escape from everyday life, but also just to really feel like magic is possible, and to not know how it works, but to just be so inspired by it was beautiful to hear every night, and also to see on their faces, because you can kind of see their faces when the lights are out there reflecting off of their faces. But I also think my favorite thing about this journey for me is, you know, Aladdin says to Jasmine, "I can show you the world." And the show of Aladdin really did show me the world, because I got to originate the role in Australia. I went across the world, around the world, to this country that I'd always wanted to visit. And so then I was taken, you know, to the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. I went to New Zealand. I literally saw the world. It was a whole new world, because Aladdin showed me a whole new world. So then to go from playing Jasmine in Australia to performing it on Broadway, I feel like I'm the luckiest person alive.
Those are all really incredible and special answers. And I can say, for me, as somebody who has grown up loving Broadway and has grown up loving Aladdin, that sounds like an absolutely incredible collective experience across the board. With Aladdin, however, there are so many iconic songs. Thanks to Alan Menken and Glenn Slater, they have had some incredible work across the board. But they also added some special new ones for the Broadway show. So between the animated classic as well as the Broadway show, which song happens to be each of your favorites and why?
Well, actually, I think it was Tim Rice and Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman originally.
That's right.
And then when Howard passed away, Tim took over, and he actually wrote A Whole New World, which is like, just to have his lyrics on there on that song, the Oscar award-winning song of the movie. But of course, for me, it's Friend Like Me, because that is the song that just gets me hyped to this day. From the moment I was, 17 to 46, if that song comes on, those trumpets hit, and it is slamming. But there is nothing like hearing my partner in crime sing Proud of Your Boy. When my boy sings that song, it was one of those moments where it didn't matter. The toughest dude in the room would have a thought about their mama or their dad and just start crying. It was Adam has a way. Adam's voice has a way of breaking people down. It was so great. It was so cool. It's also just a well-written song, and it's just like, for any parent, any soon-to-be parent, any child looking at their parent, it just works on so many levels, and it's just a beautiful tune. It's just a beautiful, beautiful tune. And I was so glad when they put it back in. And our creatives, Alan used to talk about having to take it out of the movie because they took the mom out of the movie. When they put it in the show, it just pretty much just rounded out the show and what Aladdin's character was. You finally had an I Want song. You're like, don't get me wrong, One Jump is an I Want song, but this was the song to let you know this is where this brother's journey's going. And as Genie, once I heard the song, I was like, I knew what I had to do to help him. So Friend Like Me is the kicker, but there's just something about Proud of Your Boy, which is just ridiculously awesome.
Especially the act one finale, right, Adam? Like when you kick it up a notch and you're like there for the first time.
Yeah, with the key change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite song, I love singing A Whole New World every night because, yes, it's magical. It's the most iconic song ever. And you could actually, like I said, you could hear people gasping whenever the carpet took off to fly. So that was insane every night. But my other favorite song actually is not a song that I was in, but I just loved listening to, which is in Act 2 when the boys all sang High Adventure. So it's not in the movie, but it's actually my favorite song in the Broadway show because it is absolutely hilarious. And
Yes,
I loved how it was directed. It's just so cartoony and fun and over the top, and it just makes you laugh out loud. And also to hear how it's different when there's different people playing the roles, because it really did change a lot depending who was playing those characters of the Bach boys every night. It really did change. So that was my favorite part. I was always upstairs in my dressing room just dying laughing.
Adam, do you remember the first time we actually watched High Adventure? And there's a moment where, for those who haven't seen the show, there's a moment where the boys are in slow motion. They run in slow motion, and there's this great strobe light effect, and it looks so cool. Yet the joke, as they're running in slow motion, some guy walks behind them completely in normal time, looking at them like, "What the heck are you guys doing?" And it's just a great moment.
Perfect.
I would laugh every single time. It was,
that's probably my favorite moment.
Yes.
So Casey, that's such a Casey
That's
Nicola.
such a Casey Nicola joke. Such a Casey Nicola joke.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that. Go ahead, Adam. Go on.
Well, I was just going to say, we've talked a lot about Proud of Your Boy. I always say Proud of Your Boy is my favorite because it is. It's just gorgeous. But I think my second favorite, which I don't actually talk a lot about, is which was a song which was written for the Broadway musical, which was A Million Miles Away. It's a beautiful duet that was, on the song between Aladdin and Jasmine when they first realized that they have so much in common and that they just want to escape from. And I just, when they first brought it out, it had sort of the kind of 70s feel, and they worked it and fixed it. But I just thought they did such a beautiful job. I thought Alan Menken just knocked it out of the park with that one too. I just thought it was a beautiful song, and it's one of those things that gets in your head, kind of like High Adventure. Just and that's the thing Alan Menken's the best at, right? He's get those earworms. It just gets in there, and it just it lives in there. It doesn't come out. That's what for us, right? Yeah, so.
Well, Proud of Your Boy will always be, I think, my favorite song.
Yeah.
And the first time that I heard it was in 1991 when it was being demoed in LA in some studio that we were recording in. And I was arrested at that session hearing the song sung, because up until that point, I was thinking of the film as being really more of an action-adventure picture, which is how I still think of it. I still think of it, I mean, it is a musical, but it really is more of an action-adventure picture for me. And that's why when they were going to turn it into a musical, I thought, well, they've got a lot of work to do to change an action-adventure picture into a Broadway musical. And then hearing Proud of Your Boy, it completely confused me as to what the film was going to be, about. But it was so unbelievably beautiful that I think I actually cried the first time I heard it, and have cried many times afterwards, hearing it. And unfortunately, had to make my first entrance after hearing Adam sing it. And I literally, at a certain point, I was like, I had to say horrible things under my breath to myself, and to not concentrate on the song in order to come out and do the deed. So so that will always.
What would you say?
What?
What were horrible things did you say, Jonathan?
I'll never tell. Kill him.
Right.
Anyway, I just so that for me will always sort of be a cornerstone for that film, even though it's not a song from the film. And I guess I sort of knew that at some point it would resurface, but there are probably a dozen songs that were written for the film that no one's heard. And about 6 of them were written for Jafar that no one's heard. And
Why me?
Well, there's like 6. Yeah, there's 6 of them.
Yeah,
that one we did, though. We performed that in
Seattle.
Seattle?
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that.
But anyway, but Proud of Your Boy is really, for me, will always be the cornerstone of that. And also, I got to hear Alan Menken sing it at Howard Ashman's memorial service.
Yeah.
And it hammered it even further into my heart.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever forget it or be able to shake it. I don't think it'll ever go away as being not just my favorite song on the show, but it might be one of my favorite songs, period. Ballads, anyway, Yeah. So there you are. There you are.
I
Adam.
love
Damn you.
how the general consensus here is everyone's loving Proud of Your Boy. That it's a fantastic song, so I completely understand that.
I think it surprised a lot of people that it sort of resurfaced. It didn't surprise me, but I do think it was sort of a surprise to people because it's probably the most serious song in the show too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me,
Absolutely.
when performing it was obviously Aladdin has this massive reputation of being so magical and fun and amazing in all of those Disney kind of ways. So when performing Proud of Your Boy, it gave the musical the extra layer of storytelling and beautiful music that that the audience necessarily wasn't aware of. Lots of Disney Aladdin fans would know the song anyway because it was very popular without the musical. But with the musical, it gave it new life, and I loved being on stage, giving them that for the first time maybe, and that's why I loved Proud of Your Boy. But I've got to say, when Adam just said something about Million Miles Away, personally for me that was also a favourite, just because I think everyone loves a bit of love, and when Aladdin and Jasmine meet for the first time, it's like love at first sight, and that was also a favourite part of it, because actually I always say this when it's the corniest line in the show, but it gets your heartstrings going when Aladdin goes, have you ever imagined what it would be like just to take off and never look back? Only every hour of every day, like that part of the show leading into Million Miles Away was just like my favourite bit. Let's talk about this love. Let's get these two getting it on. Let's get them on. And that song for me was just a perfect moment in the show that the audience wouldn't have got in the movie, because they all they sing is A Whole New World, which obviously is a massive favourite. But Million Miles was just like that little taster of nice, beautiful Disney musical theatre as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's give a shout out to our boy Chad Beglin, who wrote the lyrics for that song.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, Don Darryl Rivera, what's up, boy?
Yeah.
Yay!
Don, hello!
Where have you been?
You're muted.
Oh God.
Hello.
There you go.
Where have you been?
Listen, I was showing houses, so I've done. I'm a realtor now.
Is that what you're doing now?
It's my new. I'm
Look
gonna
at
take
your
out my
name
name tag.
tag.
I'm literally still in my uniform. I'm showing house. I was showing houses in the beautiful township of Maplewood, New Jersey. So here I am. Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm late. I
like your background.
It's
Thank
really
you.
nice.
This is my new office. It
It's
was
a
decked out with a bunch
it's
of
a
Disney
virtual
stuff.
background. He's not really there.
I'm actually
He's still
sitting
in the
at the
house
corner
that
of
he's been
42nd
showing.
Quick, DDR, what's your favorite song in the show?
Oh my goodness. Boy, that's a good question. It's Proud of Your Boy. Proud of Your Boy.
Everybody.
Everybody says that.
I mean,
Oh my goodness.
it's just such a, because you see how street savvy he is, and how all before, like with One Jump and everything, you just see how he's able to survive this world, and then you crack him open and you hear this beautiful reason why he's the way he is, because he just wants to be perfect for his family who's no longer with us, and there's nothing more important to him than that, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that that's what everybody's going to at the moment. It's fantastic. As somebody who listens to Broadway musicals a lot when she works, that is one of my go-tos as well. So I'm right there with everyone on that.
But I just wanted to say, for A Million Miles Away, this guy, our wonderful book writer and lyric writer Chad Beglin wrote. He was a huge fan of Howard Ashman, and I remember him telling me that he felt like this wonderful challenge to, because if you listen to Howard Ashman's lyrics, he writes some of the coolest, most intricate lyrics of musical theater history, period. I know they give Sondheim a lot of credit and everything, but Howard's got these clever little things he throws in all the shows that he's written, all the cartoons he's written, and Chad really wanted to capture that. And to be able to do that with proud of you. To be able to do that with Million Miles Away was really, really cool. So it was kind of cool just to watch him like rework the lyrics and come through with something really cool, really, really romantic, but not overly, because it's a family show, but it hit so well. So Chad is the man for that. I got to give him credit.
That is amazing, and I absolutely love the shout outs to everyone else involved, because I think it's also important, because a lot of times we forget the people who are involved that we don't see on stage as well.
Mm-hmm.
The tagline of Aladdin is about diamond in the rough. That's the lesson that everyone always learns about the story. But there's also a lot of other lessons that can be taken away from the characters as well. What lessons do you guys think that people can learn from watching and listening to the story of Aladdin?
Well, go ahead.
I think that one of the biggest themes in Aladdin has to do with freedom. I think that the genie is wanting to be free. I think that Jasmine wants to be free from the palace, of course. And the boys on Aladdin and the Bach boys, they all want to be free of feeling like they can't afford food and they're stuck where they are in the streets. So Adam's got the magic lamp there.
Sorry, Don
does too.
Mine's
I don't have a lamp.
Mine's in the other room. I'm in my closet, guys. It's not fair.
That's not your closet.
You
That's
guys
your
have a
official
lamp.
voiceover booth.
We never got lamp. London don't give lamp.
You didn't get lamps?
No.
Oh
They
no!
sell these in the gift shop now.
They do. That's where I got mine. That's where I got mine.
The shops are
The gift
closed.
shop.
Don.
I know.
That's it. That's it, Matthew. We're just gonna have to send you a lamp.
Please, I want a lamp.
They're very heavy. They're much
They
heavier.
are very heavy.
Well, they have to be substantial. The genie lives in there.
That's
That's
right.
very true. When the first time I got it,
If Trevor lives in it, it's going to be real heavy.
that's damn straight. Like I moved out, and Trevor's big behind moved in. So there you go.
I think Adam has a real one though. You actually have a show lamp.
Adam, when Adam
big.
left the show, he just took a prop with him.
This was in the front, the lobby. This was in one of the lobby rooms.
No!
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's one of the lobby lamps. It's,
So that's
Oh,
where
I love you.
that's why it's
So
very,
that's,
it's very
that's
heavy.
where it went. That's where it
Super
went.
heavy.
That's where it went.
I think Arielle's right. I think there is a moment of freedom, free to be yourself, free to be your true self, not the self your friends think. Freedom to just get away from the troubles of life. Freedom just to finally feel at peace with what's going on. And this show, all the characters seem to be dealing with that. And it's a really cool theme, because I think there's a time when everybody, no matter what your age is, you have this trapped feeling. When you're a teenager, you feel trapped by your parents, and teenagers don't understand that parents also feel trapped too, because they're like, I'm trying to help you, trying to raise you, but how do I do it without being uncool and stupid, and you not liking me and not understanding me? The people are trapped in the situations that we see in our world. So this whole thing of freedom that the show wraps itself in, you can be seen on so many different levels. That's one of the reasons why I love the show, because from the tiniest kid can get it to the oldest person can get it, and they get it on different levels, and it all depends on when you see the show, of how the show hits you. So
Well, I don't think it's a secret or surprise that, for the last thousands of years, that every story that's been told about Aladdin, with the exception of a few, the genie is always African. It's always been, that is one of the essential themes in the story, is this theme of slavery. He's a slave to the lamp. He says, another 1,000 years of servitude. I mean, it's a lot more serious story than I think, most people realize when they're first reading it, when they're first seeing it. They, the things that are fun and funny about it always are very attractive. And it's also not a mistake that the reason that all of the music for the genie is written in a certain style and form, Cab Calloway and Fats Waller music, because they wrote it for a black actor,
yes,
an African American or an African actor. It does for a black actor, I guess it's just really the right way to say it.
yes,
because that's sort of, I think that is very essential. That is sort of like the center of the story. It always has been for me, and I I have a friend who some of you know named Owen Suskind. And the first time that we spoke about it, I said, Owen, what do you think this movie is really about? And he said, about freedom. So anyway, I've always thought that that's the most essential part of the story. And, all of the stories in the Arabian Nights canon were really to say something they wanted to speak to people in a certain way, and so they created these stories that made them more accessible, I guess. Maybe that's the way to say it.
I think the interesting thing is what people don't understand, what people don't remember. People know Aladdin and forget that it's actually a part of 101 Arabian Nights. 1001 Arabian Nights, and it was told by a young lady, Scheherazade, who was being held captive. And she was using these stories to not have to sleep with the king or do different things with the king. So she was keeping him preoccupied. So here's this woman wanting to be free, using these stories about freedom to be free. It's real deep when you get into it. Like sometimes we pull the story out and just look at it for what a cool story. And we don't realize that, it's like the Grimm fairy tales. Back in the days, those stories had meanings. They were
dark.
Those stories were dark to protect kids from going out to the dark, doing crazy things. 1001 Arabian Nights is the same way.
Well, they taught lessons, maybe too. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I think for me as well, with absolutely the whole, the freedom and being yourself, your true self is the number one thing. But one thing that I loved about the musical, especially, was that another thing that it has is talking about the friendship, like real friendship, and being your true self with your real true friends. And that's what I love about the musical, bringing in the Bok boys for Aladdin, like having his boys, having his people. We've all got our people, and I think like in real life as well, the older we get, those people become, 2 or 3 people, and that's what Aladdin's boys are Bok boys, and there's 3 boys there. I know that. Obviously, the friendship blossoms so much with him and the genie, which is a massive part of the story, which is a beautiful part of the story. But I love that the Bok boys are there in the musical. You get to see like that real friendship that's a massive thing in our lives. No matter what's going on personally and all that kind of thing, you've got your friends, and I think that's a beautiful part of the show as well.
Yeah, and then of course the bromance between Aladdin and the genie that develops and blossoms, the ultimate friendship that's created, I think.
100%. I
remember a lot about authenticity of character.
Yeah, authenticity. And Aladdin's true to himself. There's a loyalty thing. There's integrity, right? That's the word, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I got to cut. I got some other things to do. I just want to plug one thing. That's right. I'm going to plug something because I'm that actor. Halloween. I have been with the wonderful blessing of Disney Music Group and Danny Elfman and Tim Burton. I am producing a virtual concert of the songs of Nightmare Before Christmas. So all of the money, all the proceeds, like when I say we spent no money, because all the money is going to the Lymphoma Research Foundation, because my wife had Hodgkin's lymphoma a year ago, and also the Actors Fund, because as you know, Broadway isn't opening back up until May something.
Well,
so we are all the money, fingers crossed, all the money's being split to that, and we have a great cast. If you want to go check out my Instagram, you can check out our Twitter, you can check out the cast. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have a great time, and trust me, everybody's doing things from their home. It's all homegrown. They're all the wigs and sunglasses. Nobody went out and bought anything. We just got on our iPhones and we're singing the songs, and it's going to be really, really fun. And trust me, you will have a great time. Plus, the price is only $4.99. The less of a bag of candy for Halloween. $4.99. 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. I expect to see all of you. And Erin, I love you. Family, Hamilton, I love you guys. Aladdin, you guys are amazing. All right.
Wait, how do I audition for your show?
What? What'd you say?
How do I audition for your show?
But I already have a cast.
What do you mean you already have a cast?
I tried to call you. You were selling houses.
Listen, sir.
Listen, I listen. Hey.
All right. Calm down.
I have an up tempo.
Calm down.
You have an up tempo. You know what? I'm just gonna say that. Thank you. All the actors understand that. Thank you. The next one I do, you want to hear more of my book? I've got 2 more songs. Okay, great. No, I love you guys. Bye. Have a good night.
Bye, James.
How
I
dare you?
was not expecting that to happen. No more fighting on the show.
Play fighting.
Yeah,
Pretend.
play fighting is okay. So I'm not sure. Did everyone get to answer that question? Did I miss anyone?
I didn't. I think it's definitely about being yourself. I mean, this is gonna sound really wacko banana pants, but Iago, it's honestly true. Like he plays these moments and these moments of hysteria and complete craziness with 100% honesty. He truly believes that him and Jafar will be able to take over the kingdom. So on a very strange scale, Iago also is very true to himself.
Love it. That is a fit. I love how everyone's answers are kind of like all blending together in a way. It's always good to have such a decent and just like level answer across the board.
Well, you'll never hear it again.
that is definitely a good point. Now, since coronavirus has been such a big thing and Broadway has been shut down, a lot of us have been having to work from home and are not doing the stuff we normally get to do. Are any of you working on projects right now while out of work from Broadway that you guys want to share with us?
Project.
I love how Don's like, I still have that. That is a good project.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
You go, Adam.
Well, I've been teaching in my backyard to local theater kids. We did a backyard Broadway intensive, my wife and I. Kelly's also danced on Broadway, Mary Poppins, and also in Radio City. So between her doing most of the choreography and me focusing on some acting and some voice, we were able to put together these little mini workshops. And so that's what we've been sort of focusing on. But now that, like Matt was saying, the weather's getting cold and not a lot of outdoor stuff happening. So right now, just trying to keep busy. I'm actually I do have to leave in about a couple minutes because I'm also participating in a virtual play reading, a new work benefiting the Actors Fund. And, it's basically kind of cold reading and with the playwrights and working on work. So I'm happy to be doing that as well. But yeah, just my boys keep me the most busy. My 6-year-old twin boys, they're definitely keeping me on my toes, but that's it for me.
I have been doing a lot of podcasts and some concerts online, and what else? I'm in the midst of starting a wellness company, a longevity-based wellness practice with my husband, which is going to be offering online courses in physical training and meditation and performance psychology and nutrition and everything to help you live your longest, fullest life possible. So I've been spending a lot of time doing that, and teaching as well, teaching voice lessons and master classes. Yeah, I've been trying to stay busy and waiting for theater to come back, recording demos for some new upcoming musicals. So doing a lot of recording from home and trying to stay in the performing mode as much as possible, even though we can't gather in person.
And you guys also do a really fun podcast on Fridays as well. I've been able to do it a couple times.
Yeah, we have a fun time every Friday. We have a Fan Friday live stream. It's at 7:00 Eastern time, and it's every Friday. We just chill out at home. We talk to fans. We answer questions. We sing songs. We talk about life and performing, and it's just a really great time to connect with people from all over the world, because we have people who tune in from Japan and Australia and London and China and Peru and Mexico. We have fans from all over who just want to hang out with us and chill. So it's a really nice thing to have a steady schedule too. So we know every Friday we can just tune in and say hi to people.
And the theme song is so catchy. It gets stuck in my head every Friday.
And I wrote it. I love that. I gotta record it. So give people a a Friday themed ringtone or something.
Yes. All right, we all good on that one?
No, Matthew, did you go?
Yeah. So as Adam just said, I was chatting about doing. London have been trying to do lots of outdoor theatre whilst the summer was coming to an end. So I was cast in Hair, the musical. However, it was outdoor. So everyone's favourite part of Hair wasn't in my version of Hair.
Oh.
Which was great, which was good. But it was good because from playing Aladdin, which was like a childhood dream, and that was amazing, and a dream come true. It was so good to play the part of Burger in Hair, which was like the polar opposite, and it was just nice to kind of explore a totally different character and get my teeth into something that was very, very different. However, it was the concert version, so we performed all the songs with connecting like smaller condensed scenes that kind of made the show flow. But it did so well that we last week did another little run of it in a place in England called Norwich. Anybody know Norwich?
I do.
Yeah. And we performed that outdoor in a tent. So I'm getting quite used to performing now, not in the theatre, but outdoor or in tents. But yeah, that's been really cool. And like doing just some like different little projects. But you know, like Adam, doing lots of workshops and teaching. I have a school with my sister in Sheffield, my hometown, up north of England, near Manchester, and we've just been working hard with our students online. And now I'm not sure about you guys, but we're allowed to bring our students back into the studio, all socially distanced, and they keep in their 2-meter boxes, and we have to do like extra classes to make room for everybody. But yeah, just kind of concentrating on doing that. And it's nice to be in Sheffield more with my family and working hard at our school with our students, because when we opened that school in Sheffield, me and my sister, it was all part of me wanting to get out of the ensemble and get any part in any show would have done. So I explored a lot of time teaching and started doing that, and then I got Aladdin. So I didn't really spend much time with my sister doing that. So one thing that's come out of the world of Corona is that I've been able to concentrate on that, and I've really enjoyed working with the pupils more and helping them out and helping my sister out. So that's been quite nice.
Matthew, is that a Manchester dialect?
So my accent is slightly Manchester, but very Sheffield-like as well, which is it's a lot more dull. Like people, especially over where you guys are, like it's kind of like monotone. Like I talk like that. Whereas Manchester have a lot more rounded vowels. Like I don't know and talk like that.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
When you did Aladdin, you used an American accent?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. So, oh my God. So, Courtney Reed came over, the original Princess Jasmine from Broadway, and she, what was that line? She just used to correct me all the time in the marketplace. So, like all the London audience and all the UK people that came, like used to think we were the whole cast were American. Obviously, we had Trevor alongside with us, so you know, kept us on our toes, and our accents were like pretty spot on. But then, like obviously, when Courtney came over or Trevor, like they would hear things that you guys would hear. Like it was something the English audience wouldn't have noticed. But Courtney pinpointed a few things out for me. She doesn't mind giving a couple of notes here and there, does she?
I was definitely guilty of that in Australia too.
Oh right, yeah, I bet. My good friend, you all know him, Heba and
Rob.
Yes, and
yes.
Oh my God, his name's just gone out of my head. He came over to Broadway.
Who?
Ainsley.
Ainsley.
Yes.
His name just went out of my head. I met Ainsley in London, and obviously Heba is one of us. She's a London girl, so it's just one big family. And on my album, actually, mattcroke.com, I sing A Whole New World with Heba, which was great.
Oh my
It was
gosh,
nice
I
to
want to hear that.
It was nice to bring Australia and London together a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but I got to head out. But thank you guys so much.
Hey.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Yeah, this was really fun. Great to see you
And
guys.
we promise to not tell them that you stole the lobby lamp.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling.
All right. So.
Now, we all have memories that we make when we do a lot of different projects, and I'm sure you all have a lot of them. But we also have a lot of moments that maybe don't go as well as we planned them to. Do you have any funny moments from when you've worked on the show that you want to tell us a little bit about?
Don,
What do you want to hear? Many.
Yeah, right.
I think I'll tell maybe Freeman's favorite story. So I wear a wig in the show, and
I already see where this is going. This is bad. This is bad.
my hair is like shaved really, really short. So there's one scene in the dungeon, or not the dungeon, in Jafar's lair, and it's just the two of us, and we're as close to the audience as we can get, right? Because they're changing the set behind us. And there's a big drop that comes in, and you see like Aladdin's image on it in the magical smoke. So we go out to make our entrance, and for some reason, I had misstepped and stepped on Jonathan's cape. And so he has his hand on my shoulder, and I pretend like he pushes me back, right? It's all controlled by me. But I slipped on his velvet cape, and 200 pounds of DDR force hit the steel stage, and I like straight back, and I whipped my head back, and my whole wig came off. And my wig has my microphone, and it has my hat attached, and it's glued, right? So I can't just put it back on my head. Like, I need someone to like actually glue it back onto my head. So we're just at the top of the scene. I'm like on the ground, dazed, and Freeman is like, "Are you okay?" Like full voice, like handing me his hand. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And I look at the audience, and I'm completely snatched bald, and they can't hear me because my microphone is on the ground inside my inside my wig. So I pick up this pile of hair and my hat, and I talk into the microphone. I go, "Look at me! I'm so ticked off. I'm molting." Right, which is the line from the movie. That was always the.
Oh my god!
Like, if my hair ever fell off, I would say that. And the audience goes like, "This is a weird show." And so then I'm like struggling to like put my wig back on and like balancing it, and finally I have to go, "Live theater, folks." And everyone goes, "Oh, okay."
Oh, something happened, yeah. But until you said that, I don't think most people were like, they just thought there was some, pratfall shenanigans going on, and your hair it was very weird. It was very weird.
It was like the longest 20 minutes of my life.
At first, I thought he was doing something new on purpose. So I wanted to kill him until I realized he was on his back on the floor.
Like a turtle.
Yeah, like a turtle, unable
on
to
his shell.
No.
So that's
one of a lot of things like that. One night, all the way down in one, crossing from left to right, my shoe, which has this big long horn at the end of it, got caught in I don't know, for some reason Ainsley had huge laces on his shoes, big loops, and my toe got caught. The top of my shoe got caught in his laces, and I started to fall over, and we were like right by the orchestra pit. We were all the way down left, where there's no space in front of that stupid drop. And I almost went over into the pit and took Ainsley with me. Luckily, he was very stable, unlike me.
I can remember there was a day.
I didn't know what was going on. I just couldn't figure out why. I didn't know what was happening. I was a little bit scared, I have to tell you, because I thought, oh no, am I having a stroke or something? What's happening right now? Because I couldn't move properly. My feet were not moving because they were caught in his shoe, but I couldn't look down. And even if I did look down, I wouldn't have seen it because my robes were very long and would have been over my shoe. Anyway, so there are things like that happen quite a lot, don't you think?
Yeah, there's also so many props in this show because I don't know if I've ever been in a show with this many props. Like when you go behind the stage and you walk through Prop Alley, it's just bursting at the seams with props. There was a day when I was, at the end of the show when Jafar's really mean and turns me into his prisoner, and I'm walking in chains. So there was one day where the genie's supposed to walk me in chains, and we enter first, and then the Bach boys are also in chains, but they enter behind us. But there was one day where the genie is walking me on stage, and I have my hands behind me in chains, and he's walking me forward, and then something's yanking me back at the same time, and I'm being pulled in two different directions. And somehow the chains that were holding my hands together were interconnected to the chains that the Bach boys had holding their hands together. So there was just this tug of war happening, and nobody really knew what was going on. And so then they kind of let go of their chains, and I walked on stage with chains dragging off of my chains, and they had to come on stage just pretending that they were tied behind their back, but they didn't have any props to make it look like they were arrested.
I remember that night, and it was hysterical. The boys were like,
Yeah.
We're trapped.
We were totally trapped. Yeah.
Trapped.
Arielle, you were talking about the audience's reaction when the carpet takes off.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a show when the carpet doesn't take off?
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about those shows.
Well, the way that I explain those shows is that sometimes the genie's magic doesn't quite work the way that he wants it to work. And it seems to be okay. So all I will say is that the carpet a few times has flown, but gone like side to side.
Oh, I see. Just very close to the stage.
just likes to fly from stage left to stage right a few times,
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's good that it moved.
Yeah. Very, 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 very rare when Trevor's magic wasn't as magical as it should have been. But that was an interesting show. It was one that went down in the book of moments.
The book of moments. Yes.
I love those. Those are I love talking about those little bloopers that people may not pick up on at first, because y'all played off so professionally. Like, we can't tell sitting out in the audience that anything's happening, but man, does it make for some funny instances afterwards.
Wait a minute. I have another one I just thought of. When we were out of town, Don Darryl and I entered, and then the next thing I knew, I turned around and he had left the stage. And I thought, oh my God, he's sick and he's, throwing up off stage and he's in pain and he's hurt himself, or I didn't know what had gone on. And plus we had a scene coming up, and I thought, well, I guess I don't know we'll see. Anyway, he left the stage, and then he came back on. And so I was going under my breath, are you okay? Are you okay? It's the scene where I have that big, that disguise. And I was like, you okay? Are you all right? I'm funny. Well, it turned out that he walked on stage in his slippers. And so he ran off stage to put his shoes on.
So in the show, I believe I have the biggest horns in the show on my shoes. They're literally 5 inches off the front of my foot that go 90 degrees up. And so our stage in Toronto was actually a floor above all the dressing rooms. Right. So there were steps that I had to take every day. And I quickly figured out that I can't walk upstairs with shoes like that.
Oh, that's why they don't make them like that.
Yep. So we left the shoes on the side of the stage, and I would go up in my slippers. And the moment I walked on in my slippers, I was like, something is very wrong. I'm not sure what. And then I felt my feet, and I was like, oh, they're so comfy. Oh, no, what have I done? And I'm about to do the biggest number that I do in the show. And I was like, I can't do them in slippers. So I ran off stage. But I made it back in time.
Good. I was about to ask, did you stall, Jonathan? What happened?
I found some good moments to cover.
Are the costumes comfortable for y'all? Because I know, they're very detailed.
They are so heavy. The Jasmine wedding gown at the end, that skirt is about 20 pounds. And I have to dance a whole wedding dance in it. So the amount of maneuvering that I had to figure out for the choreography of like which foot to kick with my foot flexed in order to not step on it when I put my foot down, and like every time I walk behind me, actually I had to kick my foot before I stepped in order to walk backwards, because there's this train, and then you would trip if you didn't do that. And yeah, the jasmine turquoise blue is of course iconic, and I loved it. But I was also always very like, why am I naked? Why does this have to be so revealing? It's not fair.
I will say, out of everyone in the show, poor Jasmine gets the run to the deal because she has to walk out, and it's like half a bikini top and pants.
I know. I mean, at least they're like harem pants, which are super comfortable.
Well, my costume is no picnic. I'll tell you that. My costume is a little bit, especially my trick costume. I can't really talk about it because I would reveal too much. But that's no picnic. That costume. That's about, oh, never mind. It's magic.
My costume used to be a lot bigger. I actually used to have for real skirt hoops inside of my pants. So I looked like a beach ball with a little figurine on top. Like I would kind of waddle. And then I'm underdressed in like basketball shorts and a t-shirt because it was so big that I couldn't sit down. So they would have to take me out of my costume so that I could actually like be backstage and then put me back in. And then quickly during Toronto, we pared down the pants pretty quickly. It was funny, but it was too funny.
It was not funny backstage.
Yeah.
How about you, Matthew?
I think the costume Aladdin has maybe the most comfortable. He only has two costumes. There's the street rat, which, talking about kind of revealing costumes, I was always quite grateful that his pants, came quite far up. So regardless of like what I had to eat on a 2-show day.
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's like tucking it down a bit more, like put them in the pants. and then the Prince outfit was just like a really nice, comfortable, cool costume to wear. So apart from, I guess, it was the cape that would come on and off for Aladdin. So some scenes he wouldn't wear, and then some scenes he does. The one that he obviously hides the lamp in. That was really heavy, but luckily, again, it wasn't like throughout the whole show or throughout the whole of Act 2. It would come on and off. So I think Aladdin has a good deal with regards to costume in the show, which I was very grateful for, because one thing that Aladdin does do is spend most of his time running around on stage, and if he's not on stage, he's running, like we would call it substage, like running around trying to get to another entrance and coming back on. So if there was a massive heavy costume involved, it would make it a lot worse for Aladdin. So I think he's got the good end of the deal there with costume.
But
I love the street rat one as well. I felt right at home in the street rat costume. It was just like I loved it. I really did love it.
But we really were spoiled having such beautiful clothes. Thank you, Greg Barnes, if you're watching.
Thank you, Greg Barnes.
Spectacularly beautiful show, I must say. I really always felt that we had one of the most spectacularly beautiful shows in the city, and that was a huge part of it. I think it was like the entire show was sugar coated in sparkly
in diamonds.
Yeah.
I think Matthew learned why girls like having high-waisted pants, though. I think that's a fair assumption to say.
Yeah, they're very in, right?
Yeah, they really are. Now, Broadway is a big factor here in New York City, and I'm sure also the West End is also a big factor over in London. How important do you guys think it is for people to know what happened?
Oh no. We lost Erin.
Oh, just went away. Don, you're on.
So if there were 3 cars and they were each going 60 miles an hour and one needed to stop for gas, which car would hit Albuquerque first?
The blue one.
Okay, you're right. Oh no, we've lost Erin.
We've lost Erin. We've lost the hostess.
The hostess with the mostest.
Oh,
Do you have
sure.
Spectrum Internet? Is that what's happening, Erin?
Well, there was a little thing that was going around and around. That usually means trouble on anyone's computer, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yes.
the spinning wheel of death.
Yes, exactly. I hate those. And every time they show up, I panic. I always panic. Technology, you know.
Should we hide? What do you think?
Okay, bye.
Hide on this thing.
Good night, everyone.
Uh,
Were there any questions that you didn't get to answer that you wanted to?
She's going to ask about the importance of Broadway and the arts if you want to continue on. Okay, let's talk about that.
Arts. Well, it's very important. It really is one of the most essential things. I think that, unfortunately, the arts in the United States are not recognized in the same way as they are in other countries. I would say that in that respect, Matthew, your country is much more advanced. I think that having national support for the arts, for all the arts, is unbelievably important, and I wish it were true here. I mean, I think that Broadway is an enormous contribution, but I believe that we wouldn't be in quite as dire straits as we are now if we had some sort of national support, which we don't. Mm-hmm. But you do. Tell us about it.
Well, even with that said, you know, there's so many West End actors at the moment that don't feel that, and it's because you know, rightfully so. I hate to think how you guys are feeling because of what you've just said, Jonathan, but even over here, it does feel for our industry like yours that it's at the bottom of the list to get any kind of recognition and help. So even with that said, which we are grateful for over here, we still feel very much like you feel with regards to an industry and how much help we need. So, you know, even things like this tonight or anything virtually online or outdoor theatres, and, you know, I think we've all just got each other's backs. You know, regardless whether it's over here or where you are or Australia or wherever there's a little theatre district, I feel like what I love is the love, and we are all here together. And, you know, even the littlest things that we can do, like Adam now jumping off to do something else and do that, and what we're doing tonight. I think just the only thing I think that we can do is be here for each other and just know that one day it's going to hopefully go back to the way that we know it globally. And a massive dream for me, like it is over in America for some of you guys, is to come over to Broadway and perform on Broadway as well. So I'm keeping a very close eye on what's happening over there because I want to get there next week. Broadway is the dream for all of us West End actors. We want to get Broadway is like everyone's dream, and it's so sad. So staying positive and fingers crossed that at some point we can all resume what we were doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's so interesting because, like what you were saying, people are still trying to put shows together. They're trying to do the most like almost primitive thing that we know how to do as a culture, and that's tell stories to each other. And because it brings comfort and joy and love, and the fact that, you know, we have this American art form. I'm going to call it an American art form, the American musical theater, that we can't do, but even when we can't do it, we strive to do it. And I think it's a part of who we are as humans, right? The reason we have all these shows is because we tell stories, and those stories have been told and they've been turned into musicals or plays or TV shows. Even a commercial is a story, you know. Telling stories is what we know, and I can't wait to get back onto that stage and make 1,700 people laugh or confused as to why my wig is on the floor, you know.
Confused. But I think that's the thing, isn't it? People have forgotten that those 1,700 people 2,000 people, 1,500 people, whatever it is the theatre can fit. I think it's those people that are forgetting how important, not forgetting, but we do it for those people. There's hundreds of thousands, billions of people that love the theatre, and we want to, and anything creative, TV, film, in all ways we're kind of suffering. So let's just stick together. That's my biggest thing. Like, just keep anything little or big, just keep going and being there for each other.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky that at least we are in an industry that does, in which that exists. There is a bond, there is a love of what we do. We're lucky. We are very lucky. I feel very privileged to at least be in an industry where that is true. And I don't know, that's not nothing. That's like a big deal. Not everybody has that in their chosen line of work or in their particular industry, but I think that we do in the arts, in the performing arts especially, but I think in probably all of the arts, people are lucky. I feel very lucky. I feel very privileged.
I think that everybody needs arts right now more than ever, because we're all so isolated and we all want connection. And what we provide in the theater is a place for people to connect to each other and to connect to themselves and to see themselves reflected outside of themselves in the roles and the characters that are on stage. I think that the arts are so important. And, the people out there who might think that, the arts don't need the same amount of funding from the government, or they don't need the same amount of help because they're not essential, I think that they're wrong, because I think we are essential, and I think that they're not thinking about, all of the people who have essential jobs. What do they do to relax? What do they do when they're home with their families? They watch movies, they watch TV, they listen to music, they immerse themselves in the arts, and the arts replenishes your spirit. It heals you. It brings you back to life.
Yeah.
And if we don't have that, if humans don't have that, then we suffer because of it, and we feel alone. So I'm just hoping that the government will do what it should do and to give us the support that we need.
I got sucked back into the lamp like James. Your answers were so good that my computer decided to overheat on me.
Welcome back.
I came back.
We almost decided to end the show, but we...
You're giving me heart failure.
No, everyone carried on.
Y'all did a wonderful job of that. I'm surprised that I'm even here right now. Now, I'm sure that you guys have had a lot of people come up and tell you how much they enjoyed you in the show and everything, but there are thousands of kids who get to come and see you and perform and just absolutely fall in love with what you do. How cool is it to know that there's a kid that could be sitting in that audience looking up at you and going, that's what I want to do one day, and you inspire them to take on the same type of path and journey?
That's what happened to me when I was very young. I did a lot of theater when I was a kid. I actually joined the union fully in 1970, so 50 years this year. And in the United States, there used to be a junior membership in equity. So I had a blue card. I had a blue card for a few years. It was a junior membership before you actually could join as a full member. They've done away with that. But I was just speaking to my mother, who was 97 years old the other day, and she just watched a film version of Flower Drum Song. And she said, do you remember that I took you to see Flower Drum Song? I was probably about 8 years old, maybe 9. And I said, of course I remember, because it's the thing that made me want to be in big fancy musicals, because Flower Drum Song is a beautiful show, a wonderful Rodgers and Hammerstein show. And it has a very strong point of view to it. But in addition to that, the entertainment value is spectacular, because a lot of it takes place in the nightclub. And there's a number called Fan Tan Fanny, in which the women of the ensemble do this fantastic dance in which they're basically wearing 3 fans. And although it sounds sexist to talk about it, it was very magical, because there were 2 fans strategically placed here and another fan placed below. And during the number, the fans would open and close.
Oh, wow.
And it was spectacular for a 9-year-old. I was like, how are they doing that? Magic. It was absolute magic. And I believe that they entered the scene, or some number they entered on stage down a slide and into a stage that was filled with fog. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be in those kind of shows. That's what I want to do. I want to be big, fancy, sparkly musicals. And, of course, I've had a pretty wonderful career doing a lot of other things. But my first love of musicals really came from seeing that show at a very early age. And my mother and I were laughing. She said, how could I have taken you to that show? It was very adult. And I said, yeah, it was. And I really appreciated it that she took me to see this very adult production, in spite of the fact that I was not even, pubescent yet. But it really made a huge impression to me. And I remember it. I always will remember it, I guess.
I had a similar experience. My first Broadway show was seeing Beauty and the Beast. And I was blown away by all of the costumes and the magic on stage. And I felt like that too. I felt like, how do I get in that world? How do I be a part of that? And up until then, I didn't really know that I would do this as a career. But when you see it happening on stage and you see that people are doing this, then you know it's possible.
I believe you just said something essential, which was part of that world.
Yeah.
This is Arielle's I Want song, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right.
No, but I mean, I think that feeling of I want to be in that world is really, at the core of a lot of music, a lot of I Want songs. And that was probably that you said it right out loud, and it's already been written down.
Yeah.
Don or Matt, you want to take it?
So there's an actor in Seattle. Well, he was in Seattle. His name is Miko. And he came to see Aladdin, I think when he was in high school. Maybe he's like a senior. And we took a photo together at the stage door. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm from Seattle. I'm like, oh, so cool. Like, I was born and raised in Seattle. And like, after he graduated from the University of Washington, his career just took off in musical theater. And he ended up starring as Bobby Strong in Urinetown at ACT and Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle as like a super young actor. Like he's not any more than 25 right now. And then he moved to London with his fiance, and he's been killing it over there too. And he showed me the picture one day. He's like, do you remember we took this picture? And I said, I vaguely remember. I remember you said that you were from Seattle, but like, he's like, Aladdin would be my dream role. Like, I would love to be in a show with you. And I said, it's really possible, man. You could totally do it. Like, you almost grew up watching our musical, and now you're an adult, and now you can be in our show. Like, he went from being a fan to a colleague, and like, how cool is that? Yeah.
So cool.
That is incredible.
I, like Arielle, remember my first West End show that I saw was Grease the musical, and again I watched that show and was looking at the cast members, and I was like, I want in on that world. I want in on what they're doing on that stage. I want to do that. And Grease actually happened to be my very first West End show that I got into as well. So Grease has a special part in my heart as well. But yeah, going back to like what you said, Erin, was when I used to come out of stage door and see little like miniature genies or Aladdin and Jasmine before I was like all dressed up and wanting a signed picture or anything like that. I just used to think, that was definitely me. And I remember even being at my little dancing performing arts school as a kid and being a mini Aladdin and singing A Whole New World with my mini Jasmine at the time and doing performing like our version of Aladdin as a kid, and just dreaming one day that genuinely being on stage in different types of shows, yes, but Aladdin was the biggest dream for me. And I remember being on holiday one year, and my wife now sent me a picture because she was in New York with her family, and she went to see Aladdin on Broadway and saw Adam and Courtney and Jonathan, Don, and everybody else, and she was like, I reckon you could be Aladdin. And I was like, nah. And she sent me a picture of Adam. So at this point in my brain, I was the little boy at stage door, thinking, even though I was a grown man, in my head, I was like, well, maybe. And Aladdin, Adam's picture, one of the original pictures in his waistcoat, like Aladdin.
Yes.
She sent me that picture, and then she sent me a picture of me like doing whatever. And I wanted to tell Adam this story actually because I've never actually met him in ever. So maybe Erin, you can pass this on. It's a bit.
Yeah.
It sounds like a crazy fan, but he was on my screensaver on my phone throughout my audition process for London.
Wow.
Because I wanted in on his life. I wanted in on the Aladdin version, the London version, sorry. And going back to being the kids at stage door and being very lucky to be part of this industry, I think, as Arielle said and everybody else, I think, whatever you dream and whatever you want, and you can go out and make it happen. And if you can picture it. So yeah, Adam Jacobs was on my screensaver for about a month during the.
That is so beautiful. I'm totally gonna tell him that.
Looking and listening to him and watching him, he's a massive, massive, massive inspiration to me and so many people over in London, especially in the Aladdin world and the Lion King world and just musical theatre in general. But he's a massive inspiration to loads of people, especially and in my world in the West End, hugely. So go out there and do it, kids.
Yeah,
Guys, it's almost 7:30, and I have to go.
Okay.
I have to go too. Actually, I have to get in a rental car that I'm supposed to pick up in 2 minutes.
Well, that's good because I was just about to show y'all what I was able to make of you during this.
Whoa!
So here comes my favorite part of the show. I always talk about this whenever I do the show, single episodes. I'm going to show you what I was able to make of y'all. I'm going to warn you, if you haven't been on the show before, sometimes the lights do mess with the colors, but I'm going to try to get it up in here. The best of my ability. I tried getting y'all in there. Let's see.
Wow!
Fridays!
How cool!
Now,
That's
if anyone's
awesome.
wondering why the carpet is in there, Linda Larkin was supposed to be with us tonight, and I had an idea in my head of where Linda was going to be, and I was like, oh no, what do I do? I have a now giant gaping spot. So the carpet fulfilled her role for this evening.
That's so great.
That's so
I
cool.
can't wait to
That's
see
amazing.
that close up.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that a copy comes to all of y'all, and that way you can actually see it without the lights interfering with it.
You guys, I love you. I have to coach someone at 7:30.
Oh, well, have fun with that, and thank you so much for coming on.
I love
Bye.
you all.
Bye.
Matthew, Arielle, Don, Erin. I hope
Hi.
to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. What do I do?
I don't know.
Click
How do I get off
Just a
this?
little leave studio button. There you go. Well, now comes the end of the show, and I thank you all so much for coming on and for talking and telling your wonderful stories about your time telling the tale of Aladdin. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you again to everyone who tuned in. Again, I am your host and in-house artist, Erin Leffler, and I hope to catch you next time on the drawing board.